Hi everybody. Well, today we're leaving Vegas and we will be going through the process of getting back to Canada. So stay tuned for what happens next.
Welcome back to our last part of our cross-border travel to Vegas. So we're going to go over everything that we experienced coming home.
We've now arrived at the Las Vegas airport. Time to get through security and check-in was less than 15 minutes with all the proper paperwork. They've asked us for our PCR testing that we did on Saturday, and it was a breeze.
So after we've gone through security now in Vegas.
Yeah, after we went through security, it was quite simple. We just took the tram across to the other side. We were there a little early and we went to eat at one of the restaurants, and all the restaurants are open in Vegas. There was a lot of people there. The only difference that I'd seen that I hadn't seen in a long while was they were taking our picture. It was U.S. Customs taking our picture, and they say they only keep it for like 12 hours, the information, then they dump it. So it did slow down the process a little bit because you had to take your picture after you check your ticket. You take your picture. It was a little bit of a process to get through. But after that, we just board the plane and we headed back to Calgary.
We did. Touching down in Calgary, again, the plane was quite full, so we knew it was going to be a bit of a process going through security, coming back to Canada with all the paperwork we had in place to show the Canadian customs. So go ahead.
Yeah, so basically back in Calgary, we deboarded the airplane, started walking towards the customs area as you normally do. One thing, there was somebody halfway through that met us, and they said make sure we had to show our ArriveCAN ID, the little code that you get when you do your ArriveCAN, which we had already previously done. So we had to show that particular item, and once we showed that, then we just went through all the way down into the normal customs area. We had a Nexus, so we went to the Nexus line, but the other line was there. You still had to do the same process that you normally do. You had to go to the computer, you had to scan your passport and all that information. And then you lined up to see your the customs official. When we were lining up, they said make sure you get out a couple of items. One is we had to show once again our ArriveCAN ID number, and we had to have our negative PCR test available to show them at the counter, along with your typical passport information. So when we got up to the counter, we showed her the documents, and then we proceeded on towards the testing area. One thing of note is that along the way we did notice people who are not very savvy on their phones were struggling a little bit or panicking a little bit trying to find these documents. So one thing is preparing yourself ahead of time is very important. But one thing you could do, a tip, is maybe have these printed out and not have to go to your phone. So if you're at a hotel where you can print out your ArriveCAN number, you can print out your PCR test, then you don't have to fiddle with your phone. Some people are very comfortable on it, so it's just bing, bing, and it's up. But for those people, that would be my quick suggestion. So once we pass that, according to the current rules, is that we are vaccinated or unvaccinated, you were required to get a PCR test. So we exited the airport. They had a separate line for those who were connecting. We went up to the counter. We'd already filled out our Alberta PCR testing application, which I had mentioned previously. We'd already filled that out. So they just got us to sign a number. We had 3 hours. What happens if you only had 40 minutes, 50 minutes? They do have a solution for that. Basically what happens is you sign the form, they give you a testing kit. You take the testing kit with you and you go home and you have to do that testing kit within 24 hours with a Zoom call with the nurse. So they do have a solution in case you just didn't have the time to wait for that PCR
And then
test.
Pure Later would come to your home and pick it up and do the process.
Do the process. So you did have an option to do that if you were stretched for time. We weren't. So we went and got our test done. It wasn't much of a lineup really. We had the test done probably in less than 5 minutes. Then we walked with our bags. By the way, we had to pick our bags up at the Calgary side. We had to walk quite a ways down to check our bags into WestJet, and then we had to proceed back through security again into the Calgary airport. The process was very, very,
It was very easy. It wasn't, but I still suggest before you arrive back into Canada is to try to do that paperwork online, because you get a code and it's just it's a matter of less than 5 minutes of time when you do arrive.
That's right.
So after we got through security, we headed to the new WestJet Evolution Lounge. It's quite nice because there's not a lot of people around, and even if the airport was full, the social distancing in that lounge is just wonderful. Everybody has their own space, so it was a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, we just boarded our flight right in, and you know, the typical board, no extra no documents required to board the flight in Calgary.
Nothing.
Just your typical boarding pass and your ID card. And then we arrived back in Winnipeg. You know, Winnipeg's not a very busy airport, so we got our bags, and there was no requirements for us to show anything in Winnipeg. And we just got our bags, got our vehicle, and got home kind of late. Yeah.
We did. But, you know, our personal thoughts on this whole experience, Rick and I were kind of going through the timeline. So we were gone 4 nights. And if we look at our time in Vegas, from the time we left the hotel to the time we finished our PCR test and got to where we were going again, might have been 90 minutes out of your whole time. So that was very seamless. Rick did his homework on where to get the PCR test. So, you know, doing your homework before you go and pre-booking is really important for that. And also knowing all the proper paperwork on the airport you're flying back into Canada from. So, you know, my personal thoughts is to make your time less complicated, is do your homework before you go, and it saves less time on your holiday. So anything else for you to add?
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, the thing is, be prepared. You know, there's extra things to do. If you're prepared, you know everything is going. It's very seamless. The trip was, you know, it was just like a regular Vegas trip for us. You know, with respect to a couple of extra stops. Give yourself a little extra time at the airports,
Going to the airport
because there is documents to check. You know, make sure that you're patient, because it's, you know, it is a little bit of a process. So have patience. We come to work today and we had our results from our tests in Alberta at Calgary Airport, and then, you know, we're pretty much done this trip. There's no more problem for us. It's all done. Trip's gone. It's a memory.
So stay tuned. Our next series, we're taking off to PEI the end of the week to go see family, and there is a process going into PEI, and we will share that with you then. But anyway, thank you for joining us with this series. I really hope that this has helped you ease some thoughts about taking time away from your holidays when you are on holidays to get things done to come back to Canada.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.